So I am sorry that we have to be here today, but I am grateful that we are, that we're not standing in an empty square talking about issues that don't seem to rouse the collective outrage of our country. The truth is, the overwhelming majority of Americans want us to change this national nightmare. Senator Menendez and I have been fighting on this issue, not in a reactive sense, since the day I got to the Senate, coming from a community too often ravished by gun violence. We have been working for change, proposing legislation, pushing, fighting, giving speeches, making demands. But today, I have hope, because what brings us here is the strength and the commitment and the fight and the demand of our young people. I want to say thank you to the high school students that are surrounding us right now. You are the hope of our nation. It was not long ago in American history that a young woman underestimated, believed that she could make a difference. She literally was from our state, but went down to Washington and led the very first protest in front of the White House. Her name was Alice Paul. When they told her she was a second-class citizen, she said no. When they told her she couldn't make change, she said no. She went to prison for her protest. She went on a hunger strike for her protest. And finally, the President of the United States, then Woodrow Wilson, said, "You are right, I will join you, and I will join the suffrage movement." That's our history. Impossible, implacable, unbelievable odds. But what overcame that were people, often from our state, who went on freedom rides, who protested in the suffrage movement, who fought against the Vietnam War. We have made change before, and no one here should feel demoralized or dejected in this moment of history. We should feel empowered. We should feel strong. We should feel confident. This is the time for us to demand change. And so let us not equivocate. Let us not hesitate. Let us not retreat 1 inch from our demands. We demand universal, comprehensive background checks. We demand a ban on military-style assault weapons that belong in theaters of war and not in our streets. We demand a nation that doesn't make it easier to get a driver's license than to get a gun license. We demand licensing in the United States. Nothing I am saying is a partisan issue. Let's be clear. Everything I just said, all of those demands are overwhelmingly supported by Democrats and Republicans in America. This is not an issue of right or left. This is an issue of right or wrong. And what we are doing is not an assault on constitutional rights. No, I'm sorry. Every right in the Constitution has reasonable restraints. We do not allow people to stand up in a crowded movie theater and yell fire. And yet somehow we are allowing people with weapons that belong in war to fire them in our supermarkets, in our mosques, in our synagogues, and in our schools. We are Americans. The mission statement of our country is clear. Let me read you the first words of our Constitution and what our mission statement is. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. But here are the things we wanted to do. Establish justice. Ensure domestic tranquility. Here's one. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare. And secure the blessings of liberty. Think about those 4 things. Think about justice and tranquility, the common defense, and the general welfare. How far off have we gone from those core mission statements? We don't have domestic tranquility when people are shooting in our streets and our houses of worship, in our schools and our supermarkets. We do not have justice or freedom when our children can't go to school, as we just heard from students, without a freedom from fear or a freedom from worry. Israel was just telling me about every time that he hears us do a drill of being locked down, he goes to his cell phone and texts to his family that this might be it. He said he texts love because he doesn't know if this drill is going to be for real. What does that do to our children? It's like saying, hey, we've got a hole in the boat, in the ship of our nation, and instead of plugging the hole, we're going to just pass out more buckets. That is not a solution. It is a surrender when we tell our children, we can't protect you, so we're going to teach you how to hide. That's not what the strongest nation on the planet Earth does. It's not who we are. And so today, look around this circle of strength. There are people from all backgrounds. There are people from all faiths. There are people from all across the political spectrum. And we join in solidarity. We the people, we the people, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. Well, this country is being torn apart by gun violence. And it's time that we heal. It's time that we help. It's time that we realize that there is nothing that is wrong with America that can't be solved by what's right with America. And so Senator Menendez is right. We're going to go back to Washington, D.C., and he and I are going to get into the well of the Senate and push and fight and try to make sure we pass something that will make change. And I'm going to tell you, if we win the day with the legislation being negotiated right now, I've been talking to Senator Murphy, in touch with Kirsten Sinema. If we pass this legislation, yes, it is a good thing, but it will only be incremental change. It will be necessary change, but it will not be sufficient to end this national nightmare. What does it take to change in America? Yes, you need legislators in Congress fighting for it. Well, you've got them all across the state of New Jersey, our Congress people, your senators. Heck, your governor and your state legislature has already passed so many of these laws. You have people fighting for you. But we are vulnerable right now because this state is only as safe as the closest state to us with the weakest gun laws. When I was mayor of the city of Newark, after shootings, we would do the analysis and we would find out that the guns came from outside of the state. They're not New Jersey guns. The majority of them are from other places that have weak gun laws. That's why the fight is for national legislation. And so I want to tell you right now, remember Alice Paul. She didn't wait for a bunch of men on the Senate floor to come together in a huddle and say, hey, fellas, let's give those women the right to vote. No, that's not how change happened. Change happened by American citizens, by we, the people, demanding action, because as Frederick Douglass says, power concedes nothing without a demand. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Well, we all together, collectively, these young people leading us today, say, I am up for the struggle. I will fight to defend my nation. I will stand for domestic tranquility. I will stand for justice. I will stand for freedom from fear and gun violence and murder. We can achieve that in America. This is our country. Let us change its destiny now and commit ourselves to doing what is necessary. Let us commit ourselves to peace and love and change and progress and a more perfect union. Now, I'm sorry you have two brothers here as your senators, but there's a little sibling rivalry. So ahora voy a hablar en español rápidamente. La situación ahora es inaceptable. Hay demasiada violencia en nuestro país, pero tenemos el poder. El poder de la gente es increíble. Ahora necesitamos usar nuestro poder. Necesitamos luchar. Necesitamos trabajar. Porque yo tengo fe y esperanza con el poder de la gente, especialmente los niños. Con nuestro poder vamos a tener un día nuevo, un día de paz. Vamos a tener éxito por la gente. Gracias.